We're good.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Monsters of the Mic. This is episode 8. We're
Yeah.
back here with Costa. Costa, I know you have a
Hello.
lot of things to get off your chest.
Yeah, I do. It's nice to be back. Obviously, right? Like it was that dead period in the summer where it was just kind of just baseball, right? A little bit of pieces of year in football, but obviously,
Yeah.
right? Training camp is back, and I'm excited to talk about that. But yeah, you know where I'm going to start with this, as I've always been preaching this since the day one is the Cubs not doing anything at the trade deadline. Yay! Obviously, right? Like nothing per use. Granted. I will take a step back, and that the Willie Castro trading I think was great. I think it's an actual great acquisition. I think by them, he's a great versatile player. He's already
He's
made
already paying off.
right.
Yeah,
He's already made some impact. You know what I mean? So like
yeah.
Willie Castro, I'll give Jed that one. Awesome, congrats. I appreciate that. But like, dude, like Michael Sakura is back on the is on the IL. You know. You know what I mean? And
It-
Andrew, great. He had an immaculate inning today. Oh, but he's gotten blown up already. You know what I mean? It's just they're bagging on our starting pitching, which obviously, right, if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, isn't necessarily horrible, right? Matthew Boyd's having a great year. Yes, he got blown up against the Brewers, but he came back his last series. Imanaga
mhm.
had a great game, right? Even though he's been kind of like he's getting back to what it is. Granted, Cape Horton, 23 and a half scoreless innings in a row. Fantastic. That's A1 right there. But Colin Ray, we keep talking about Javier Assad. Where the hell is he at? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I thought he was supposed to be back by now. It's just
Right. We lost
yeah.
another pitcher, right? Michael Socorro going on the IL, like I said before. So it's like they once again did not address the need of starting pitching, right? Like if Justin Steele was here and he was having a great season like Matthew Boyd or Imanaga, then I'd be like, you know what, fine. We have three great starting pitchers, this, that, and the other. I'm okay with this, but that's not the case, right? And especially what you saw what everybody else did across the league, right? Like the Padres, right, loaded up. The Yankees loaded up, right? And granted, I think a lot of the thing came around. I think it was the prospects, and I know the Cubs said a lot of their prospects. I think it was Casey Owens and Ballesteros. They're not touchable, right?
Yeah.
They're non-negotiable, and I think a lot of the packages required them. And I understand, right? Like in Jed's perspective, like we already have a great team, right? Even if Kyle Tucker leaves this offseason, for example, like they got PCA, right? They can bring up Owen, right, to play right field. They can do all these things, so they have it. So I get it. Like, do we hinder away the mortgage of the future to possibly for this one lightning in the bottle season? So I get it, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like now you're 4 games behind the Brewers.
I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate on the pitching thing because I don't think the starting pitching has been what disappointing. I think it's been the offense up to this point because
Yeah,
Kyle Tucker was I I don't remember exactly, but Kyle Tucker, PCA, and I believe it was Ian Happ. They were all averaging around like 192 uh for hits. So like I think that's your biggest issue, right? Because I I think our starting pitching has gotten us at least in kept us in the game at least into the seventh. But that eighth and ninth inning, like we need some insurance runs, man. Like what happened to this prolific offense? Like,
I agree with you. Like that's a good pushback, right? Because if you look at the Orioles series, they kept pitching. It was 0-1, and then it was what 4-3, but the pitching was led up in the ninth inning, right? Led up the 3-run home run, right? But then even
hmm
in the day after that, right? Like they ended up winning 5-3, but that's because Justin Tucker came in clutch, right? With the a heroic walk-off win because Daniel Palencia couldn't supposed to win. So like, yes, I think the starting pitching has been the key bright spot, but you know, I always make fun of the Cubs because usually it's like in May or June they get these slumps. Now it's now. Kyle Tucker has been kind of right. He's only been batting like 238 over his last 30 games and only two home runs. Like his power has been gone. And I think right there's rumors going around that he has a finger injury.
Oh God.
So somewhere around the line that he got hurt somewhere, I believe. I was listening to, I think I was listening to 670 Score, and they were talking to some guy, and they believe that there's something going on there with his mechanics because like why all of a sudden, like sure,
It's
and granted, one thing about Kyle Tucker is he does usually once a season have kind of slump like this. A little bit, right? Nothing like dramatically like I feel like it's been now, but like yeah, like they got to start picking it up because Swanson hasn't been good. But you know what? Even more about Kyle Tucker. Granted, he had a great game today, but Seiya has been lost too back there.
I think the Seiya thing has to do with him not being in the DH role as often anymore. Like,
Okay.
because he's been playing a little bit of outfield, like with the Hap injury, that the weird injury that happened that wasn't an injury. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, that was weird.
Um, and then just with guys getting breaks and stuff, like I think that has to do more with Seiya. Kyle Tucker, I don't know what's going on. I just know he's struggling with a fastball, like that high fastball. He just keeps missing it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and pitchers are just attacking him with that. So
Yeah.
hopefully he can get it together because I mean, he revitalized the offense in the beginning of the year, like he shot some juice into it, and that's really what we need
I
now.
agree. And yeah, I think he needs to find his way because yeah, like I think, as much as PCA is great and this, that, and the other, like I think Kyle Tucker is right the heart and soul of that offense. Right. If
Yeah.
he's clicking, the entire offense is clicking, right? You know what I mean? And
Mm.
yeah, they've been in one of these slumps that they usually get into. And yes, starting pitching is gonna, hold it, but like you're gonna go into some important games coming up, right? You're playing St. Louis this weekend, right? Then the Blue Jays, I believe it is, right? Then, in a couple of weeks, you have a 5-game series against the Brewers
Yep. That's gonna
because
be a big one.
because it was the double header and like it's going to be absolutely insane and like yes you're already I think what I know we won today. I don't know if the Brewers are ever going to freaking lose again because they're just on a mission right now, right?
Hmm.
But whatever, at the end of the day today we're going to be down 3 to 4 games. Like you got to keep it within that striking distance. You can't not let them get right because and yes, right, their rookie pitcher was on the IL, but like that team is so built based around like so like they're pitching like I don't know what they do up in Milwaukee. That pitching factory is fantastic, right? They always produce like really great pitching, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But you can't let this get worse than it is right now because yeah, you still hold the 3-game lead in the wild card, but a lot of teams we know how baseball is. It's that heating up sport, right? And like you got to stop the bleeding somehow. Thank God they haven't gotten swept. They didn't get swept today. Thankfully, they won that last match. You know what I mean? But you got to take 2 or 3 in St. Louis this week. Like, and I don't want to say it's a must-win series, but like against your arch
I
rival
think it is.
you
Yeah.
got to win 2 or 3, right? Like
Yeah.
you cannot be swept or you cannot, only win because then you got, like I said, I think it's the Blue Jays afterwards. Don't quote me on it, right? But they're a good team this year too.
Oh,
Yeah, you know
yeah.
what I mean. So it's just like, I'm gonna follow up on that but like if you have those two things, like you need to at least go 500 on that road trip.
Yeah. It's close. It is a really close race. I do think I do think they are still a playoff team, but how far they would go playing like this, man, I don't see them making past the wild card round.
No, right? Because then
Like,
like you're gonna need everything to go well again, right? And
hmm.
playoff baseball, right? It's yes, okay. There's been some teams like some teams that blow out games and stuff like that, but a lot of it comes to pitching, right? A lot of
Yeah.
it comes down to pitching, right? And who can get out there the furthest and who can get out there the fastest. But like, yeah, I don't know. You know what my plight has been, right? I always been complaining, right, in our threads that we always talk about. Like I'm always upset about like pitching, 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 pitching. Yeah, like the offense is now, but like as a Cubs fan, right, for a while, like this also happened, right, when they had like Brian Rizzo and Baez, right? Like the offense would slump for about a month, right? Like that is just normalcy, right, in baseball. But like it's like, all right, now you got to start picking it up. I know it's August, right? We still have full August and we have all of September of baseball left, right? Like I understand that it's 2 months, but like this is where seasons are made or break, in my opinion, right? Especially because you have a shot to win the division. Like, yes, you're 3 or 4 games out behind the Brewers. That's not a dead sentence yet, especially with this 5-game series coming up, right? But yeah,
Hmm.
and I did check. It is the Blue Jays right after the Cardinals, and it's a 6-game road trip, right? Like, you got to come back at least halfway, or you got to win 4-2. Like, yeah, have
Hmm.
to, right? Because that is a brutal, brutal stretch. And then you come back, you play Pittsburgh, and then you go play Milwaukee for a 5-game series. Like, it's not going to get any easier. It's not. And
Yeah.
I think the offense needs a reset. I really does, whatever that is, right? I know Kyle Tucker, I don't think he played, I think today, or he got removed from the lineup, right? I don't know if it was today but that's okay. Like, I don't care. Just because you're the best player, right? Offensively doesn't mean you've had to, right? You don't
Hmm.
have that. reasoning to be out there and playing, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Take the mental day. Yeah,
right,
like just reset, man. Come back the next game. I mean, we didn't need him today, but
right.
I mean, we're gonna need him soon, and we need him to make big
Agreed.
big time hits, big time plays, man, because you're right, it's not gonna get any easier.
It's
And
not, and this is where pitching starts to become right, like also important too, right? Because we're getting into the last third of the season,
mhm,
where arms are gonna be tired, right? Bullpens are gonna be tired. Like, yeah, great. Like I said, Andrew had that fucking immaculate inning. Oh, whoop-de-doo. I'm so happy about that. But like, you can't have what you had a couple days before that, right? Like you can't have those in these types of games, right? Especially in a close division race, right? Like if they were still in first place by like 6 or 7 games, I can give them a little bit of leeway, right? Or if they were out of the division and then like they're pulled, come back and now they're getting back to the regression, fine. But it's like, listen, like you started off well, fine. You're having a slump, right? You're 8-8, so it's not even like they're horrible. They're 500, right? Like, it's not like they're
yeah.
playing below 500 ball, for example, but like some of these series and some of these games need to like you should have taken all 3 games from the Baltimore Orioles. Like there should have been no ands if or buts. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like you shouldn't have gotten blown up by the Reds 2 of those 3 games. You know what I mean? Yes, today was great. Cape Horton dominated, awesome. You know what I mean? I'm very excited about that because I think he's finding his way finally. Uh,
Hmm.
Fantastic. I think they're gonna need it. But like
But the last two were winnable games. Like you have to take those. Like,
especially at home, especially at home. Like,
yeah.
you're away, okay, I get it, maybe, but like, especially at home at Wrigley, right? Especially the way they lost on, Ryan Sandberg Day, right? Like, that's even something that, right, like, it's so sad
That
as
one.
a Cubs fan, right? Rhino passing away like that. He's one of the few people, right? Few baseball players that I've watched highlights because I just loved the way he played the game and how, he was just an ambassador for the game. So, like, that was a rough thing. And you go and lose that game. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like where's the urgency in my opinion, right? Like I feel like the urgency has gone out the window a little bit and it's like very frustrating. And I think it's just, yes, mental days aren't good, but like why is Dansby Swanson still like batting? Like I get like his defense is so important and crucial in that infield, but like, dude, like he missed that base that would have tied the game up against the
Dude.
like, dude, like I get it. It happens. It's baseball. Like we're like bro, like that's what I mean. Is like now it's all of a sudden it's been like sloppy baseball, like, and I just don't know what necessarily kind of happened. Is what went wrong in the last
Like what team are we gonna get this time? Yeah,
right.
because I I think it has a lot to do with like, man, it's what is it, 162 games?
Yeah,
Like it we're already way past the 100 mark, so maybe it's just the wear and tear of the season that's just getting to them at this
sure.
point. But like if you want to make it to the top, man, like this is where you got to turn it on. Don't slow down. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like, come on. I just hate to see the Brewers on top right now. This is painful.
And it's like they weren't even. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, they won the division last year, right? But like,
They didn't start hot though.
no,
Like,
it's so frustrating. I feel like like maybe I'm just being bitter because they're just doing really well, but they always do this crap. Like, despite the Cubs, they always do like random weirds. They just get really good and they get turned up and they get really hot, and all of a sudden, like they're in first place. And I'm sitting there being like, why? Why? You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
super irritating. But no, I think I think they're in the place they want to be. I think but I just yeah they got to stop the bleeding fast because if you continue to down spiral, especially right like I said with other teams making moves, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, the moves that they made. Yeah.
the good thing is right the Brewers didn't really make any other moves either too, right? So like that's the one positive thing, right? The Cardinals got rid of their fucking closer, which is insane to me. I don't know why they did that, but they got rid of their closer, right? So like nothing really in our division got exponentially like bigger, right? Or got worse for the Cubs. But it's just like, okay, now focus on this. You got a day off tomorrow. Get ready for St. Louis. Then you get a day off after that St. Louis series too. Use those important, right? But like, yeah, like you got to attack this next kind of like, 2 to 3 weeks is kind of must win weeks, right? And I'm not saying I need him to sweep every single series. It's like, but I need you to play over 500 baseball. Like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
simple.
Yep. I totally agree with all that.
Because yeah, anyway, and they extended Jed for another 2 years, which angered the crap out of me. I'm just like, why? Like, why? Like what has he done? Right? And I think right, this goes to this thing of like, I get frustrated with the Ricketts of just I get it, right? Like you want to invest in around Wrigley and do all these, you know, expansions and additions, but it's like, dude, like, yeah, that's nice, but fans also want we want another World Series. We tasted it for the first time in 2016 in 108 years. Yes, we got back to like, another NLCS, but we lost to the Dodgers, I believe, that year. But it's just like we haven't been relevant since then.
Yeah,
You've been playing
it's
500 baseball, 83 win games essentially. This is like eventually at some point, like that's gonna be enough, and you got to spend money. Like you
they're
have
kind of satisfied.
right, right, right. Let's hear
Oh,
it.
you're lagging out.
Oh,
What's the
I'm here. Can you hear me now? Oh, I lagged out a bit. Can you hear me now?
still kind of laggy?
It's fine. Yeah, the connection's
Yeah, okay.
yeah. But no, it's just I get frustrated
Okay.
with the Ricketts because, like I said, I feel like they complain about not having money, not having money, not having money, and yet they're just investing it in around Wrigley. It's like, dude, just invest it on the team in the field, please. Like the money will be there if the team wins.
They they obviously have their own plans besides putting a, a winning team on the field. And maybe that's why Jed makes the moves that he makes, right? These kind of like low I don't know what to call them, like they're low risk, high reward kind of
Sure.
moves. Like that's the best way I could put it. Was he part of the like the Moneyball team? Because that would make a lot of sense
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he was or not. Like he was here when Espin what's his name? Yeah, when Theo Espin was here, right? Like
when Theo was here.
yeah, when
Yeah.
Theo was here,
Oh,
right?
then
Like
he's
he was
definitely
here.
yeah. Then he definitely knows that. That's probably how he's kind of thinking about this entire build of the team.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, right? Like we have an owner who has a lot of money. The Ricketts have a lot of money. Look what the Padres are doing. Look at that man's a crazy man. The Padres owner. He's throwing money left and right. Has he won anything from it? No, obviously, but he's like, I'm gonna keep trying to win baseball games. I'm gonna keep trying to do this. I feel like I said, after 2016 when they won the World Series, they got stagnant. And they're just like, we're excited with this. We finally got a World Series. But it's like, okay, next year is gonna be the 10-year anniversary of it. Like, let's move on from it. Let's just
It's crazy.
do something different, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, I'll end that rant on there because it's just frustrating. It's the same story, right? Different note every year, and it's just like,
Like let's hope the offense gets it together.
right.
We
Let's
still
hope.
have
Let's just
we
hope.
yeah, we still have some time. So if they do, I mean, maybe the next month's pod will be a
Right,
little bit
right,
it'll
right.
be a little bit happier. Yeah.
Hopefully. But right, going from a team that's frustrating. Oh, and by the way, your boy Ben Brown has getting back to normal. So I will. Okay, he needs to be more consistent for me to appreciate it, but he has.
Give him time.
That last outing was nice, so maybe he just needs
Yeah.
to reset. So I'll leave that at that. But
Okay.
obviously, right, going into the bigger discussion, right, which is exciting because that void is over, is Bear season is here, training camp specifically, right? By the
Hmm.
way, Chicago Bears need to do a better job at giving your fans abilities to get tickets because I waited in the queue and you guys robbed me. Anyway, that was my last thing I'm going to say about that. Yeah, it's just horrible. I was in the queue and I was like, I thought I was gonna get it, and as you know, I was texting you, I couldn't. And then they released I got a text. They released like a free giveaway for a couple more tickets, and I went there and still gone again. Almost like this is anyway. Like I think it's just ridiculous. But
At this point, yeah.
yeah, but anyway, at this point, whatever. I think the more important thing is I think the progression of training camp, right? But more importantly, I think, man, the biggest thing is I love that Ben Johnson is whooping their asses, man. I think it makes me so happy from a culture perspective, especially the last couple of coaches we've had here, right? Going from, Trestman, to John Fox, to Nagy, to Falus, and now having someone being like, no, you mess up, get your ass on the bench. Go sit
Yeah.
there, learn, right? And I think
Yeah.
that is so pivotal. And I want to kind of hear your kind of opinion on that because I think that's as much as we're going to players and development and Caleb's grasp of the offense, I'm like super excited about that.
Yeah. It's accountability, man. Like that's hey, they asked for this. This is what they wanted. Now they're getting it. Like I hope I really hope that they're not taking it the wrong way because I mean, it doesn't seem like it's gonna stop. It seems from because of everything that I've at least read up until this point, it seems like that's his style, right? Like you get one chance to learn from it. If you
Hmm.
make the same mistake twice, then take a seat. And you might be taking a seat for a little while until you figure it out. Um, but I love it, man. I love it. Like we haven't seen that kind of accountability, even like I don't know, his personality, it just like it's kind of like I don't know what the best word is, but he's got a way of like just hooking you in just
Yeah.
whenever he speaks. I
Hmm.
don't know if you've like taken some time to like watch some of his press conferences and stuff, but he does a really good job of like
Yeah.
giving you what you telling you the honest truth without giving you too much information about the players so he doesn't lose their trust.
No,
And
absolutely.
yeah, like it's just little things like that that I appreciate, like we have an honest coach. It really seems like he knows what he's doing and his style and it's crazy because everybody called him like the play wizard or whatever they call it,
Mhm.
like um that's not his style, man. Like his
Yeah.
style is smash mouth football. Like that's what he is.
Hmm.
I
No,
love
I
it,
think
man.
with him, man, I think this is I think what you're kind of saying, what I kind of put into is like he actually knows football.
He does.
Like no offense to all these other coaches. Yes, you listen, Eberflus, great defensive coordinator, right? Like let's not put that against him, right? Like I mean, Trestman, he did well with the Canadian Football League, whatever. But like when these guys talk, they didn't know how to communicate. I think Ben Johnson is straight to the point. Yes, I think he's cryptic enough to like hide from his players, right? Like defend them and stuff like that, but holding accountability. But he just knows the game, is the ins and outs of it. I love the way he just talks about it, right? The accountability, the physicality, right? Like I think it's so important that that's instilled, right? Winning football, right? That's what it is. That's winning football. This is what training camp is for. It's not for us to walk through the motions, is to make sure that by the time, right, September, the first game in September rolls around, right, especially being on Monday night this year, right, like we don't go out there and embarrass ourselves. And I felt like
Yep.
the last couple of years, right, with Flus at the helm, it's been an embarrassment. It's been an embarrassment. He
Yeah.
comes every year, right? Like the year with the Packers, right? We lose what 38-20 at home. They come out flat foot and get kicked in the mouth by their arch rivals, right? The year after that, right, against the Titans. It's the Tennessee Titans with Will Levis. You need a freaking miracle play and a Will Levis dunce throw to win that game, you know. Um, this
Uh,
I just think that with thank God, I thought we lost the pro. It booted me out for a second. I don't know why.
it just booted you?
Yeah, it just booted me. Thank God, but the recording is still here, so we're good.
Okay, cool.
But as I was saying, right, like they're just holding him accountable. I think he's just holding him accountable, and we just missed all that stuff, like the hit principle, and I think Eberflus tried too much to be their friends, right? Like,
I agree.
listen, like yes, you can have good relationships. You're the coach, right? And I think Ben Johnson is in this position of like, like yes, I am the coach, and I think right more importantly, I think there's a chip on his shoulder. More importantly, right, because it's like is he going to be a good head coach, right? Because the OC, coming from over here. But I think all
Hmm.
the thing about like the Bears just having back quarterbacks and stuff like that. I think this man's taking it personally. I think Caleb's taking it personally too, right? They talked about the lofty goals, right? Over 4,000 yards, right? 70 percentage completion, right? So like
In camp, yeah.
yeah, right. I think that is so accountable, right? The biggest thing that I think I love about right this factual, right? And it's a perfect example. I think we talked about it where it's like when Caleb's headset went off, right? You're the one who
Oh,
to my attention, right? Like when his headset went off and he got frustrated, and Ben Johnson pulled him over, was like, "Hey, like, no, you need to know a couple plays behind your back just in case it happens." I'm like, there it is,
hmm.
the small things that we're missing. He's taking it and being like, "No, like this is what we need
Did
to."
did you notice when he talked about that? Did you notice he kind of took a shot at Flus?
No,
He
I didn't
said
notice that. No,
he had said, yeah, we don't want to call a timeout in that situation. or we don't want to burn a timeout in that situation.
That is
Because
absolutely amazing.
the same thing happened in Detroit, right? Like
Yep.
this,
Yep.
it's the exact same situation, right? You got to have a couple plays in the back of your head, like be ready for every situation. And I'm still wondering, like, if that was intentional, and if it was, man, like, geez, that is those are the little things that like
Yeah.
it just matters.
I
Did you um? I know we haven't talked about it, but have you heard about this last practice? How
which
like physical it was.
Oh, I love it. I
Because
love it. I think that's fantastic, right? Because another thing, right, that I feel like lately the Bears have been, and yes, we have had some bruisers. I feel like they've lacked that. You know what I mean? That's why the one person, as much as I hate to see him go. I really liked was Tevin Jenkins, right? Like he was always that nasty player, had that nasty attitude, that chip on his shoulder, right? Defending his quarterback, this, that, and the other. Like I felt like that was missing. Yes, when the defense was on and they were clicking, they were going crazy. Yes, that physicality was there. But when it wasn't there, granted, right? I think they lost, once again, they lost the locker room last year, right? Like
mm,
it was missing, and I love the fact that right once again Ben Johnson's implementing that in practice. It's like, listen, we're gonna play preseason games, right? Obviously, right, you're not gonna play a lot, so you got to get that, you got to match that physicality. So when Monday night rolls around and you're playing against a division rival and they're
you're
hitting
ready to go.
hard, you're ready to
Yeah.
go, right? You're not just sitting there being like, oh my God, we got blasted, right? Like, and
Hmm.
granted, we got some luck because Addison is suspended right the first 3 games of the season, so that's a little bit easier, right, on us to take away that weapon. But like, nonetheless, like that defense is going to be scary. They added so much, right? And I think Ben Johnson is like, no, like we got to be ready to get hit in the face,
Hmm.
right?
You gotta
No,
you do. And I I think what I thought was the most interesting about that whole thing was that uh as the fights I know the fights kind of weren't intentional, right? Like they didn't really want them to get into fights, but the live the live tackling, it was only supposed to happen for one period, and they kept it going for 2.5 hours.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they essentially played a game against each other, just hitting each other. And I love it, man. I love it. I think that's what we need. That's what we need to beat the Packers. That's what I've seen beat. That's what Detroit had last year. That's what they've had the year before. That's what the Niners had when they were really good. Like that's what the Eagles have now, man. They're physical. These are physical teams. Like they play football. This
right.
is this is what it is. That
I agree with you. I agree with you. But before we wrap up, we only have 9.5 minutes because my Zoom's being goofy. So I think we'll
okay.
cut, we'll cut the last part off and we'll just talk about this for the last 9 minutes then, and we'll do the other
O-
thing next time on Monday.
Okay.
Cool, cool, cool. Just to let you know. But yeah, but and I'll keep an eye on the clock. But yeah, so like I think, you know, it's really nice, you know what I mean? And I feel like that allows for the actual competition you want to build in training camp, for example, right? Like you actually want to build in that competition. And I feel like, and look at some of these players, right? Like, what's his name? Is it Tishawn Johnson? Is it the corner?
Oh, Nashon,
No, Tasheem
Nashon Wright.
he's good too, but Tasheem Johnson too. He's a undrafted rookie safety too. He
Oh,
stood out this last practice, right? This last one on
hmm.
it was August 5th. He picked off Case Keenum and stuff like that, right? Like these are undrafted guys that yes, I recognize their names right when the Bears sign them, but like you're pushing right like these individuals to be better. For example, right? Like Manungai seems like he's going to be RB2, right? But I think that
Yeah.
that triggered and fueled some fire under Roshan, and Roshan had a fantastic practice the last couple of days. You know what I mean? It's building that competition,
Hmm.
every single person better in that team, right? To hold accountability. And I feel like that's been missing for so long, right? And since the Levy days, if I'm going to be honest.
It is since the Lovey days. Yeah. We haven't seen anything like this since maybe Nagy the first year, maybe.
But that
But
was Vic Fangio, in my opinion.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
from a head coaching perspective. Vic Fangio made that defense, right? You know what I mean? And like because Nagy's thing was only to get Mitch better, right? So like I feel like here
Hmm.
this is a collective effort, right? Because I know we're going to talk a little bit about training camp per se, right? But like like everyone's like, oh, look, all the defense is better day one. The defense is always better day one. It always is. No matter what offense you is, defense is always ahead. You know what I mean? Especially right when you have Dennis Allen as the defensive coordinator.
Hmm.
Knows how to run a defense. He has great position players to do so, right? So I'm not, but like, right, all these people that talk
Look,
crap about Caleb, all of a sudden he's having good practices and he's stringing the practices like, a week of practices good together, and they're nowhere to be heard.
of course not, because it's just they're just looking for a reason to hate on him and not they don't want to give him his flowers. Um, I think the most important thing to note, at least about the offense, is
Mhm.
one, they just had their last day of installs, which was yesterday,
Got it.
right? Um, so now that that's over, they're gonna reel it back. They're gonna take everything that they've done well and focus on that, and then just throw away all the bad stuff. So realistically, it should be getting better from here on out.
Sure.
But at the same time, like from what I've noticed, from all the reports that I've seen, and I've been keeping track of it every day since training camp started,
Hmm.
it's been like a slow trajectory. Like it has been pointing up.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's going slower than we might have expected. But that doesn't mean that they won't put it together, you know? Like there's still a month left. They,
Right.
s-
And now they get to put in games, right? Like they got preseason games going on and stuff like that, right? So it's gonna be
yeah.
nice, right. And I know Caleb's number one overall pick, but I hope he gets about playing time in at least two of those three games, right? I mean, I
Hmm.
think he will. I think Ben Johnson will allow him to play a little bit, right? Because I think coming from the Detroit Lions, yes, it was a Hall of Fame game, right? Like they're not going to play their stars a Hall of Fame game, right? Why
Yeah.
put the stars, right? Like, but you know.
For a series or two, yeah.
Yes, you know what I mean? And and I would like right against the Buffalo Bills, I would like Caleb to at least play half that game. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, right? But we'll see, you know what I mean? I think it's important, right? But I think what's also important is right is us doing some kudos is right. And man, that boy Luther Burden, he looking real good.
So is Colston Loveland, man.
Dude, like, and listen, like, the more I see it, the more I see this training camp, the more I see like Ben Johnson's like picture slowly coming to life. I'm like, okay, I can
He
understand.
might be onto something, yeah.
I can understand the picks because that Colson Loveland is just a freak of an athlete, right? He's going to be such an asset, right, for Caleb,
Mhm.
especially in the 12 pack, right? You know what I mean? So I think it's exciting, but all I want is right is that Caleb to continue to improve, right, and to learn these things, right, and I think bringing Case Keenum in there is also great for his development too.
Yeah, that was
You know what I
very
mean?
smart. Yeah.
Um, you know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, I'm like really excited for them to keep moving forward and really kind of just allowing themselves to like um just bask in this new environment in this new kind of culture because I think Ben Johnson is for real, man. I think he really put this team to succeed. You know what I mean? And I know I know the bar's gonna be set high, right? They're gonna have a tough schedule, but like if what I'm seeing in training camp isn't fruition, right? Like I think they can hope for around 10 to 11 wins, right? Like I think it's so important, and these intense practices are so important, right? Because it puts them in the game set, right? And I think that's what
Mhm.
always I feel like the Bears have missed in training camp is like, oh, how they're doing? Oh, we're just seeing progress. We're seeing progress. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
great. Like, but what kind of progress are we seeing? Like, are they getting this? So I think adding that intense pressure to Caleb is, I think, what's going to help him continue to grow, especially right in his next season coming up.
I think so too. I think so too. I think it's good for him that they're overloading his plate right now. Like they're just
Mhm.
trying things at this point. They wanna see how he reacts and from there I'm sure they're gonna dial some stuff back and then we'll start to see the real highlights start to come
Right.
out, right?
Right. I agree with you 100%. And I think a lot of this the defense too, right? Like,
Oh man.
Nick McLeod has been seeing a lot about around a lot of the around the ball a lot, right? And I love the fact that they got that guy from the Niners, right? Yes, he's a vet 100%. He's a fill-in player, but I think
Yeah.
that's important because I
Veteran presence, man.
right, and I think right in this defense, right, with Dennis Allen, with some of these like really hard head nosed coaches, like the stuff with Tyreek Stevenson got away with last year is not going to happen.
Oh no.
So, you know what I mean? It's
No.
not going to happen, right? And I think it's what's also important to note is this competition breeds for okay, you want to be lazy, you want to take a playoff, then go sit on the bench, right? Because we're this guy's next man up, right? And I think they're building that here in training camp for the first time, like I said, since Lovey, right? Like that
Hmm.
defense, you watched him play, right? Okay, the offense was the offense, right? But that defense, when you watched him play, everybody had a certain position and accountability, right? And every player on that defense held them accountable. And I think Ben Johnson implementing this is exactly what they needed, and I think it's exactly what Caleb needed, honestly, to be frank with you.
I agree. I think he definitely needed that kick in the ass right now.
Yeah.
By the way, Ozzy Trapillo, I I think he is number one on the depth chart, rolling with the ones, and he's been rolling with the ones for a good little bit, for a couple of practices already.
I
Uh,
agree. He's also he's a good pick. So maybe Poles learned from his mistakes and actually got someone good here. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's yet to be seen, right? Because
True, true.
Braxton is still right there, right behind them. So
Agreed.
we'll see how that goes.
Agreed. Yeah. So everyone, well, that was our episode today. Just gonna get back into it, touch on some Bear stuff. As the season is coming up, you know what I mean. We're gonna be pretty much having episodes after every game, even the
Mhm.
preseason games, is discussing, breaking down, right, players that we like, player that we might think are gonna make the 53-man roster. You know what I mean, some stuff like that. As we progress, we'll talk a little bit about fantasy too, right? So it's really nice to be back, and we'll see you guys in the next time.
All right. Bye.